to another edition of the Student Fyre podcast, live from the Speak Fyre studio. My name is Bobby Berg. I'm a motivational speaker for schools, and I am here to help you live your best life today. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of the Student Fyre podcast, live from the Speak Fyre studio. I'm your host, Bobby Berg. Thank you so much again for rocking with me. Y'all, I appreciate you so much. No string of words in the English language will truly encapsulate how important you all are and how thankful I am for everything that you do. And so I'll take a minute. I know I say this every podcast, but I really want to say thank you because you could be doing anything right now. You could be listening to any podcast. You could be doing whatever you want at home. You could be rocking out to music, watching YouTube videos, whatever you want, and you chose to rock with me here. So thank you again. Thank you. Let's take a second. I want everyone to really be aware of where you're at. I want you to see where you're at and see what's going on. I want you to be honest with yourself. I want you to be real with you for just a minute. If you're feeling great, cool. If you're feeling awful, not cool, but cool. However you are, wherever you're at, I want you to be honest with you. So let's take 5 seconds, just complete and utter silence, and I want you to really be honest with yourself on how you're doing. 3, 2, 1, shh. See? That wasn't all that bad, was it? Now, for today's topic, I recently have been doing a lot of thinking, obviously. I've been doing a lot of noticing of myself. I've been very self-aware of what's been going on in my life, where I'm at, how I'm doing, and how I'm telling myself I'm doing. And that's really what brings us around to today's point. I want you to understand that life is going to get difficult, life is going to hurt, life is going to punch you in the mouth harder than you've ever experienced from time to time. And it's going to bounce you back a little bit, and you're going to have to think about what the next step is. Now, as a lot of you know, I've been writing a book. I have the manuscript written. I'm in a round of edits, number 15 at this point. And the more and more I'm looking at it, the more I feel stuck, the more I feel there's something more to write. Every time I say something important, I feel like there's more to say, and I never really get my point across. So I go back to the drawing board, and I try again, and I try again, and I try again, and I try again. Well, the other day, I tried writing the same paragraph 10 separate times, and by try 11, I just said, you know what, I'm done, I can't, I quit. So I put my paper down and walked away, and didn't look at it for another week. Now, I probably didn't need to take a whole week off, but I did. And what I noticed is the same passion that I had when I started writing was not the same passion that I had when I came back to it after a week. See, leading up to this coming back to writing, everything had changed. I'd finally admitted to myself that I was hurting. I admitted to myself that I'm not okay. I'm grieving a loss, and it hurts. And I'm not hiding from that hurt anymore. I know it's there, and I acknowledge that it's there, and for that week, I let myself just settle into this hurt. Everyone that heard last week's podcast episode, I recently lost a friend, a dear colleague, and somebody that I looked up to very, very heavily, Johnny Freebird. And I'm not okay. I'm not. And the writer's block was real. But you want to know something? It wasn't the writer's block that was real. You can write whenever you want. It doesn't have to be good. You can just pick up a paper and start writing until something good comes out. You all know that I've been telling you that for the longest time. If you want to do something, just start. Your first 5 episodes of whatever you post are going to be garbage. Your first 10 podcasts are going to be trash. Go listen to the first 10 episodes of this podcast. They're awful. The audio wasn't edited. There was next to no thought put into how it was going to flow. So many issues were there with it, but I kept working. I kept working, and I kept working, and I kept working at it. Well, this week I just couldn't work because I wasn't acknowledging how I felt. And something that Johnny had said to me really rang true on that 11th day. I'd always complain to him and say, Johnny, I'm just so tired. I'm exhausted. I don't feel like I can do anything. I don't feel like I'm making any progress. He goes, you're not. And that's okay. He goes, sometimes you need to understand that you're not going to make progress. Sometimes you can't push an engine at 100%. You can't be full throttle all the time. Eventually, you have to stop and refuel. He goes, now granted, Do you know what that does when you're sitting there and you're refueling the car? I said, smells like gas? He goes, no. What it means is you've got to strike the iron when it's hot. When you're in that car and you are going 60, 70, 80 miles an hour within the speed limit, thank you very much, you need to take advantage of that feeling when it's there. That feeling of speeding down the road in complete control of the vehicle, being one with the machine that you're working with, being one in your element, doing exactly what you need to be doing when you're doing it at that exact moment. That's when you need to be there. Y'all, that changed my life, because when I finally came back to the writing, when I was ready to start again, I'm telling you, everything was different. I wasn't worried about if it was perfect. I wasn't worried about if it worked well. I wasn't concerned with what other people are going to think. I'm writing this book because I've always wanted to be an author. Since I was 5 years old, I wanted to write a book. I'm sitting here at 28 going, dude, the manuscript is done. Finish the goal. I understand that a lot of people that suffer from ADHD sometimes have trouble understanding what finished looks like. And for me, that's a very, very big thing, is I understand that it's hard for me to envision the end. So what I have to do is I have to start at the end and work backwards. And I didn't do that with this. I just started writing a book. I didn't say, okay, here's what the cover's going to look like. Here's what I think the title would be. Here's exactly what I want to write about. Here's how I'm going to go about writing this. I'm going to write one chapter, then two, then blah, 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 blah. I just started writing. I started sharing stories that are very personal to me. And I started sharing stories that I think an audience would enjoy. And as I started talking about these stories with my friends, with my colleagues, with people that are in my inner circle, I noticed everyone's eyes started to flicker a little bit more. Because to them, I was opening up. To them, I was sharing a really important piece of my life. And for me, I was taking down not just one brick out of the wall that I'd built up over all of these years. I was taking down rows of bricks by sharing these stories that I've never shared, by sharing the really interpersonal feelings that I went through during the turmoil of my life, how I overcame this turmoil. And something I realized as I'm looking back on these stories is I'm going, you need to strike the iron when it's hot. And that's what you did every time something great happened in my life. That's what I did. Every time something good happened. I realized I was in my element. I realized I had power in what I was doing. I realized I'm not an imposter. I'm supposed to be at the table that I'm at. I am meant to be here. My job in this life is to exist. And in this moment, I am here to change whoever I'm speaking to in a positive manner. Whoever's life, whoever's perspective, whoever is suffering in front of me, I need to help them realize how incredible they are. And I have however much time I have with them. If I have 30 seconds, if I have 10 hours, I don't care. Whatever time we have, you're going to leave having your mindset change. That's my goal. And the second I realized that, man, you need to start doing this now. When you know you're in your element, when you feel like the cosmos has just aligned and all of your chakras are perfectly in sync, that's the time to push a little harder on the gas. That is the moment in which you don't stop. The problem with a lot of you is you get to that point and you feel like you're an imposter. You feel like you shouldn't be there. You don't feel that you have the right to express your truth. I'm here to tell you right now that you do. Doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're an artist, if you're a painter, if you draw a lot, if you're a musician, if you're a physicist, if you're into science, whatever, if you're into math, whatever you're into, I want you to understand that you have a right to be at the table with the big boys and girls. You have a right to be at the table with the greats. You have a right to be there. You deserve to be there. And don't let anyone in the world tell you differently. I don't care how many people talk down to you. I don't care how many people tell you it's a stupid idea. If you believe in your heart of hearts that what you're doing matters and you're making a difference, then block everything out and strike the iron when it's hot. Bonus story here. I'll make this one quick. I used to clean pools for a living. The gentleman, who here's ever used a Swiffer before? Most of you, yes. Who here's ever used an electric toothbrush before? Some of you, yes, great. The gentleman that invented the Swiffer. I cleaned his pool. Very grouchy old man, didn't like talking. Very up in his own head. So I didn't try to make conversation with him. I just, whatever, I'll do my job and leave. And he goes, "Kid, you know who I am?" I said, "I have absolutely no idea." And he goes, "You ever use a Swiffer?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "I made that." I said, "Oh, that's pretty neat." And kept doing what I was doing. See, everybody at that point had tried to pester him, to bother him, to, how do you get your ideas? How do you this? How do you that? And he hated it. I just left him alone because I knew that's what he wanted. Because you read body language. And he said, after I cleaned up, I, went over and shook his hand and said, "Sir, thanks for, allowing me the pleasure of working here. You're putting me through college and I appreciate what you're doing." He goes, "You want to know how to make it in life?" And I said, "Absolutely." He goes, "Whatever you're passionate about in this world, stick to it. Because everyone else that's telling you that you can't do it, they just quit on themselves and they're trying to make themselves feel better. And also," and I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Every stupid idea that you have that'll make your life even a little bit more convenient is your $1 million idea. 100%. I got tired of dusting, so I made a Swiffer. Boom. Look at me now. I never have to work a day in my life. Nor do my kids, or my grandkids, or their grandkids. Keep that in mind and keep it up." So, all of that to say, I want you all to realize something. Here's your homework for the week. I want you, next time you feel that you're in sync with yourself, that you really feel that you're ready for something great, the next time that you feel just in your element, in whatever activity that is, I want you to take note of it. And I want you to tell me how amazing it felt versus an hour later how you feel. Okay? I just want you to take a mental note, write it down in your notebook, and I want you to really keep that where it is. We're going to come back to that one next week. I hope everyone has a wonderful week ahead of you. Again, thank you so much for being here. I love you very much. Remember, I know some of you are not in a good spot, and that's all right. But you are loved. You are powerful. You matter. You make a difference on a daily basis, whether you see the change that you make or not. You are incredible. This fantastically complex human being. And you make a difference in the world every single day. Hope you have a wonderful week. As always, not results but requests. Throw them up to Instagram at Bobby Berg or TikTok at Bobby Berg, or email me at info@bobbyberg.com. Anybody that wants to take a disc assessment and really get a better understanding of how you tick, let me know. I'd be happy to give you a survey. And I will catch you all in the next one. Peace. Whew, that was another awesome episode of the Student Fyre podcast. Thank y'all for sticking around for this long, but I got a question for you. Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? See, when I was trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions, like how do I record an episode? How do I get my show to apps? Like, do I have to do it individually, or can I just have one place that does everything for me? And most importantly, how do I make money from my podcast? Is that even an option? Well, honestly, y'all, your answer is Anchor. Anchor is the one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it is 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors that want to advertise on your podcast. Yes, you. That means you can get paid to make the podcast. You can get paid to podcast the right way. In fact, that's exactly what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. If you want to get in on this, if you want to make your podcast a reality and you want your success and your word to be a thing, man, you already know. Hop over to Anchor and give it a start. You won't regret it. Catch y'all in the next episode. Peace.
I got you.
It's coming. Are you ready to ignite the fire?
We are Speak Fyre.
Oh, and by the way, that's fire with a Y.
What's going on, everyone?
Internal fire.
Student Fyre.
Young fire. Father's fire. Leadership fire.
Champion fire.
Unlocking the fire within.
Thank you all for tuning in. Let's grow.
Speak Fyre.
SpeakFyre.com.
Speak Fyre with a Y.
We have a new episode that comes out every Monday at 4 a.m. Are you going to be up with us?
Deuces.
I am excited to bring you my new book, Trendsetter, 7 Steps to Radically Stand Out to Be the Best You. This book details my journey of coming to the United States and being excited to embrace the American culture. But unfortunately, my culture was not accepted, and I found myself being bullied as a young girl. And in this process, I decided that I wanted to disconnect from my culture to be more accepted into American culture. And through that process, I got so depressed from trying to fit in that I attempted suicide my freshman year in high school. So this book talks about the journey of what I did to become radically transformed to be the strong woman I am today. This book is something that's really going to enable the reader to understand and embrace who they are, embrace what makes them special, and become radically transformed. Get your copy today at becomingatrendsetter.com. Again, that is becomingatrendsetter.com, or check it out at my website at aishathomas.org.